Right then, welcome back to the channel. I should really start doing like an intro for these things. So today we are back inside of the Drone Sim, LIFToff. And this is just again really for my own personal reference, so I can watch how I'm flying and progressively get better. I've made a few modifications to LIFToff. I've set it to advanced pilot. Not that I am an advanced pilot, it was more due to being able to see when there is actual vehicle damage and some other. An example now, you can see with the quality of the signal for the goggles to drone, you'll progressively see the closer I get back to the command center, the quality improves. So I'm really looking for realism now, just to be able to not have such a big learning curve when we jump over in one of these things. Immediately what I can say off the bat is that I am now noticing I believe I'm pretty much at 10 hours now flight time. Bear in mind, this is my first actual any type of piloting at all, and I've noticed now that the Xbox controller does have some serious setbacks. Example, landing, you have to keep your stick permanently down in order to stay landed. Making nice bends and corners, I've noticed, banking, as I believe they call it, banking left or right, is you have to manually keep the joystick in that position, which can be quite annoying. Annoying as such, as in a sense of the amount of concentration you have to put in to get a smooth bank it's noticeable. We're going to just leave it at that. We're just going to leave it at noticeable. But besides that, like, it's been excellent so far. Flying this thing has really felt natural. I've just every time progressively noticed myself getting better. I believe that starting on free roam, free flight, and focusing primarily going through the barn window, that was my only objective coming into this, was to be able to fly through the barn window every single time. And when I got to that stage, as you saw in my first video, now I've started going on to other levels. And this one here was the next one I tried, was the docks. Yeah, it's also a great level. I believe that this will be one of my go-to warm-up levels in future. There's also a few others. You can also build them yourself in here, and as I progressively get more used to all the technical jargon and features and hardware that is in the game, that can then be transferred over into real world piloting, which is what I'm going for. So it's a very interesting learning curve at the moment. I've been enjoying it very much. It's incredible to be able to pilot one of these things and be able to get over all of the learning curve. There's no expensive accidents, there's just it's a game, isn't it? It's a flight simulator. You crash this thing, which you are going to crash this thing. If you come into this with zero piloting experience like myself, you are going to crash this thing. Just by taking it off, just by takeoff, you are going to crash this thing. I'm sure there's people out there that will not, but get yourself where you can be utilized for your skills. but just for the consensus of people that will be piloting inside or with FPV drones, you are going to crash this thing. It's inevitable. Really trying to get low and close and high and swoop in. I've noticed that when you add more thrust to I crashed here, but I believe the next video, yep, here we go, this should be the one. So one thing that I have noticed is when I apply thrust, when I'm coming down and then getting closer to an object, if I apply the thrust, literally timing it right for when it's intercepting the object, it's just, you get into a flow state. You can really get into a flow state of using thrust to push off different objects to really sort of carve your way through. Again, I've noticed now that the Xbox controller is not optimal for this type of flying just because of the kickback reflex. Don't know if you can hear that, I'm just testing it now. That kickback reflex is, well, it gets in the way. Let's just put it like that. It gets in the way. But that won't stop me. That won't stop me from learning to pilot this thing, and once I'm feeling comfortable, we're gonna get ourselves a true FPV pilot controller. I will do, from what I can see so far, Radio Master seems to be the bleeding edge, and we will do some experimenting. I would like something that is going to be, I believe there's two different types, digital and analog. I still need to jump into that cave of exploration, but that will all come in due time. As you can see here, I'm trying to get through the container. I'm just lining up a few shots. I've not been able to achieve it as of yet, but that is my new goal, is to kind of get through that container on the drop. Yeah, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. It will be. It's definitely achievable. I've seen what some people can do in these things, and it's truly excellent piloting. They can really make these things look absolutely incredible. Here we go again. I believe we're lining up for another shot. Yeah, you can see it's going to be achievable. We're going to get it. I believe this was the moment where I discovered being able to apply thrust off of objects. I believe this was the moment that I found that. See, making these banks, I don't know if the keen-eyed among you actually notice the little kickback when I'm trying to perform a clean bank. That little kickback from when I just let the joystick, because you have to fight it on the Xbox controller. You're fighting it, guys and girls. You really are fighting it, keeping it in that position. Whereas on true FPV controllers, when you put the joystick in a certain position, it will stay there until you move it. Yeah, so I believe we're getting closer to the end of the video now. I'm just going to stop talking. Thanks for tuning in. If you have if anybody ever does tune in. Again, this is really just for my own personal reference to hold myself accountable. And yeah, until the next one, thanks a lot.